Welcome. Welcome to our Pathwork village. Really grateful for you being here today and helping make it happen. Beloved being said a long time ago, wherever two or more are gathered in my name, there I am in the midst of them. And we have that quota here. So just by hearing the call to be here and by coming, we're waking up from the dream of separateness to the reality of unity within ourselves and from there with each other. And it's a gift we give to life in this time of conflict and turmoil on the planet, as much as it is a gift to ourselves. So whatever the struggle and distress that came with you here, it's possible to leave some of it behind when you go. There's a blessing here for each one of us to leave with a new opening to life. Grace is unstoppable. We're here to help each other see and experience who we really are underneath our self-image and thoughts of a lifetime. We're already free under all our limited belief system. We're here to help each other see where we're attached to thinking otherwise. The image we have, the idea about ourselves, is the source of our distress and suffering. All the ideas that we have about us is what's standing in the way of awakening into the life we came into incarnation to experience. Rumi says, "You wander from room to room, hunting for the diamond necklace that is already around your neck." That's me. So we're here to have an experience of the real self that brings that feeling of standing on solid ground, on a patch of eternity which nothing can touch. This is our birthright, yet it's up to us to want it enough to take on what we each have in the way. At the crux of our struggle is a false sense of unworthiness. Realize no one else on this earth can be like you. That no other soul knows the beauty, the sorrow, the light, the darkness you alone are given to see. Be at last the fearless individual your heart of hearts has called you to be. Guy Finley. The world can only change from within each one of us. It needs more than ever each of us to turn to the conflict within ourselves and connect with the peace and love already within all our thinking and fear. Rumi says, love is an endless act of forgiveness. Forgiveness is an endless act of love. We're here on this path to forgive life for our case against it, for our struggles, and here to forgive ourselves for our humble humanity that learns through many trials and lots of error. As we do, we begin to love the life we have and ourselves in it. We become the love we seek and may have even given up on. We become the beloved and the beloved. When we do, the challenges remain, yet now are stepping stones instead of obstacles. The next stepping stone often appears right under our feet, sometimes without effort. Sometimes the next stepping stone is just under the surface of what we can see. Yet faith leads us to it. So take a moment and gently move around on your seat and come to a new place of settling. Let the eyes soften, go inside. Just feel your longing to be free from all your patterns for a few moments. Nothing else required. Just notice the breath and let it breathe you. Simply to be aware of our breath reduces the amount of thinking we do. Let your longing arise. That holy part of you that holds your soul's flame. The desire to know your own soul will end all other desires. As you allow even a little of your longing, feel your longing wanting you. Not only do the thirsty seek the water as well seeks the thirsty. Peace is here. The ocean of our being. Closer than any understanding. Closer than our own breath. Gangaji. Peace is waiting in our breath. It is life itself, coming into us. Just for a moment, let yourself just be here. Let yourself stop becoming more, or better, or different. Stay with just noticing the breath. The best you can manage at any moment is amazing. As any thoughts arise, guide them into the heart, the center of compassionate presence. Let the thoughts disappear into the heart like water poured onto sand. Let go of all thoughts of doing the right thing or getting anywhere. There is nowhere to get to. You are already home, and your body is the holy and pure ground. Feel the true safety in the feet, in the hands, in the pit of the belly. Feel the sanctuary in your chest. In the holy place between your eyes. A loving friend in the breath. A mother in the motherless places. Let everything relax into the heart. Let seeking relax into simple being. You cannot make it happen, but you can allow it. As any emotions arise, let them move into the heart that can receive them all with care. Take in the blessing of this moment. If all you can do is for just a single moment, allow love and compassion, gratitude and inner peace, that's worth a great deal. The one I love is everywhere. What loves me is here now. Rumi. Take a moment and just allow the energy that's here in you and around you to meet each other. And gently penetrate every particle of being. Taking all the time in the world, in your own sweet way, without hurry. When the eyes are ready, let them softly open and come to the screen. And drink in the faces here with you. Real people, like you, like me. So when you are ready, I invite you to say your name and where you are on the planet, and a few words about what you're noticing inside you right now. And remember, you don't need to tell any story about what is leading you to feel this way. Just sharing with us what you're feeling is what's important, and we can connect directly with that. And anybody can begin.
I'm Jenny Bond. Excuse me, Jenny Bond. I'm near Annapolis, Maryland. And I'm ever so grateful to be here.
Great to have you, Jen.
Hi, everybody. I'm Pam Chubbuck, and my husband's sitting back there somewhere. We're outside of Athens, Georgia. Hi, Frank. I am grateful to be here today, but I am also terrified, depressed, pretty much freaked out.
Wow.
I'm struggling, going back and forth. Yeah, thank you.
Welcome as you are, Pam.
Thanks, Brian.
Hi, I'm Karen from Shenandoah, Virginia, and I feel really grateful, and I feel a lot of love and contentment right now. Thank you.
Welcome, Karen.
Hi, I'm Stephen. Nice to be here. Presently, I'm in, nice seeing you, Brian. Presently, I'm in New York. Probably Wednesday day, I'll be flying down to Florida, where I have another place. I've been experiencing a lot of loneliness and pushing it away. So it doesn't seem to get solved by pushing it away. And although right now, this moment, I'm not experiencing the loneliness. I'm experiencing the joy of being in this group. And I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Welcome, Stephen.
I'm Chris. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I'm Chris. I am currently in Napa, California. My base is usually Charlottesville, Virginia. I'm actually transitioning my life to Napa, and I'm in process of working with my new identity here. My heart is feeling full and grateful this morning, and I'm felt very nourished by your words, Brian. Thank you. And by being here. Thank you.
Glad to have you, Chris.
I'll go. I'm Dan. I'm in Richmond, Virginia. I'm realizing as people are speaking to their gratitude that I too feeling gratitude to be here with everyone. And I guess I'm struggling a little bit with the anxiety around there's something wrong. What's wrong? Something wrong. What's wrong? So.
Thank you, Dan.
I'm Kathy Adamski, Kathy. I live in Tega, South Carolina. I'm kind of uptight. I've had some things going on in their mind, but I'm glad to be here.
Welcome, Kathy, just as you are.
Hi, I'm Saida from Denmark, and I feel a little bit sad. Been feeling it a couple of days now, and still there's a little sadness.
Welcome you and the sadness, Saida.
Thank you.
My name's Laura from Petoskey, Michigan. I come here every so often. I've been feeling just basically numb a little bit. Not sure. I know I should be positive, but feeling negative, trying to battle that. So just needing some grounding.
Welcome, Laura. Glad you're here.
Esther from Swampscott, Massachusetts, and I've just been feeling tension past couple of weeks, and I can tell because my whole body's like tense.
Welcome just as you are, Esther.
My name is Elisa, so I'm connecting from Italy. And during the meditation and right now, I feel concentrated, very focused, and I enjoyed the meditation very much. I was melting in this world and really felt peace. And I was hit by the words, you cannot make it happen, but you can allow it. I like this very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome, Elisa. You're muted, Ruth Ann. There you go. Welcome.
Yeah, my name is Ruth Ann, and I'm in what some people still call Delaware in the United States. And those of us honoring the original people call it Lenape-Hoking, the land of Lenape. And as the meditation was happening, I recognized how hard I've been working and how hard I was working during the meditation to relax. And at some point, I recognized that we're just acknowledging who we really are when we stop working so hard, and we're acknowledging where we are, just like a land acknowledgement. This is where we are. Here we are. And it was very freeing. So I thank you.
Welcome, Ruth Ann.
I'm Frank in Richmond, Virginia. Feeling a lot more put together because I'm having a lot less physical pain. I can be more present here today. And something that Brian said in the meditation that really landed on me was not only do the thirsty look for water, but the water looks for the thirsty. And that's like that. I really did like that. And it resonated with me. Laura, I have a box full of Petoskey stones in my basement.
That's awesome.
Welcome, Frank.
My name is Sandy, and I'm in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And there were a lot of things that were that you said, Brian, that were really, really beautiful and interesting. One thing I remember you said before the meditation, I think, was that love is an endless act of forgiveness, and forgiveness is an endless act of love. And it reminded me of something someone I was chatting with in a checkout line at Target said, her mother said, life is a never-ending lesson in humility. And that one fits me pretty well. And I'm feeling grateful to be here. I'm actually feeling like I really wish that all of these Zoom meetings that I attend could be, some of them at least could be in-person meetings. And I'm inside is kind of it's like a lot of things going on inside that don't match what's going on outside, or trying to meet the meditation. But anyway, that's where I am. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandy. Anybody else? I believe everybody has spoken. My name is Brian. I'm in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, USA. And Frank, what you said about the thirst and the water seeking the thirsty, yeah, I felt my own emotion coming up. That understanding that what we're seeking is seeking us goes right into the core of my painful image that I'm all alone in life. I have to do it by myself. I have to make it work. And as you spoke, I could feel it, just another layer of the softening of that. Yet there's more softening to do for me. So I was watching my thoughts go by, and I felt some empathy for the guy having them. Whew. I want to speak now about what's been moving in me in the last month and my own ongoing inquiry, how to keep synthesizing the amazing gifts of the Pathwork into bite-sized pieces, right? I'm somebody who has trouble reading a whole lecture, and I have this ongoing desire to really know what is it that the guide is really wanting us to see. So I'm going to do it in as few words as possible. Be patient with me. One of the things I notice is that there's many ways I can be dead, yet still alive. And being alive depends on my knowing that I'm both consciousness itself and a wholly flawed and imperfect human. And what the guide is inviting me to do is to learn to love both. The most powerful part of consciousness in humans is the power of our attention. So rather than try to overcome our thoughts, because if we resist, they persist, what the guide is inviting us to do is reclaim thinking from the undirected mind and use it for its real purpose, to call on our inner knowing. Most of our life in the day-to-day is dominated by a very small part of our brain that creates and maintains a sense of a separate self, the ego. Medical science now knows exactly what part of the brain this is. If that part of the brain is injured or surpassed through meditation or certain drugs, this feeling of separateness is replaced with an overwhelming experience of oceanic oneness. This is the real self. And to connect with it means to awaken out of the self-talk in the head and our thoughts. Because the self-talk is a form of hypnosis. Self-hypnosis. Course in Miracles says, it can be but myself I crucify. That really has the energy of how we create our suffering in it. So what I notice in myself is how my humble humanity forgets how much holy help is here. I forget that grace means that all my mistakes now serve a purpose instead of just shame. It makes me look at what stands in my way and say that it's actually the way. And part of what is in my way is the part that expects life to be easier than it is and gets resentful when it's not, right? Yet I'm also coming to say when I don't expect life to be easy, I don't make it unnecessarily hard. And it usually gets easier. Often we hear, let go of the past. Let go of the future. That seems nice, yet that doesn't come with the instructions, right? So in my own inquiry around that, what I've come to see that I want to share is the past isn't back there, it's here. The future isn't out there, it's here. Everything is here and now. All that's lived, living, to be lived is here and now. So my fear of something in the future is fear here now, inside me, waiting to be turned to. It's not about whatever the story is I'm afraid of in the future. It's about something in me here and now. What is that? It needs me. My shame, guilt, regret about the past, it's really not tied to time come and gone. It's here now, waiting to be freed. Simply by releasing my grip on it. So this path helps us uncover what is actually for each one of us that which we're holding onto. Our healing isn't about erasing the past. It's about changing how the past lives within us so that it no longer controls our present. This is how we become free. So the essential ingredient to becoming free is to want it more than anything else. The desire to be free must become first and foremost, above all else. Each one of us has what it takes. That's a promise. But it will take everything you've got. And that's why the desire is so necessary. A most common block to freeing the creative power in our longing is a mix of unworthiness and superstition. The unworthiness says what we all know in our own way. And the superstition says, if I want it, I'll be crushed if I don't get it. The guide calls this not wanting to want. Gangaji reminds us that if we're willing to rest in the desire to be free, this desire eats up all other desires. It is the true desire to know ourself, to live ourself, to be lived by ourself. Heaven and earth love human courage. When we make a commitment, nature responds to that commitment by helping remove what seemed like impossible obstacles. This is really the magic. This is what all the teachers and philosophers who really touched that alchemical gold of transformation, this is what they all have been wanting us to see. Poet John O'Donohue says this: may I have the courage today to live the life that I would love, to postpone my dream no longer, but do at last what I came here for, and waste my heart on fear no more. You know, the Pathwork is so full of these amazing tools of looking at ourselves and dissolving images and releasing vicious circles. All that is so important. Yet really what that work does is bring us to this place of connecting with our longing, you know, that grace, that unstoppable grace that's in our desire to be free and to experience the pleasure supreme, the bliss the guide talks about in ways that can seem so far off and distant, right? Yet are right here, right now, right underneath this very thinking response that I'm having to something that's going on that's keeping me distracted and preoccupied. And it can be so difficult to know how to let that go. Yet what I'm wanting to offer today is, it starts with just wanting to let it go. Let yourself really want to let it go. And that's where the grace comes in, right? I want to, but I have no idea how, but I want to. I'm not going to give up wanting to. You see, that's the response on the human level that the spiritual level is waiting for to respond to with all its gifts. So let's take some time together here and just be with all of this and see, is there some part of this that is landing in you and speaking to you, or is some part of this that you notice some skepticism rising, right? Like whatever it is, it's welcome. And that's what we do here, is create a dialectic. And it's not on the theory level, right? It's like where the rubber hits the road in my own physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual body. Like, what's getting stirred? What do I notice is stuck?
I could speak a little bit about unification, which seems to be the topic this week, because I've been on a couple of other Pathwork Zoom calls, and unification was the topic, the feeling of the oneness with everything. When I was a young lad, I experimented with some hallucinogenic drugs. And I could honestly say that those were the times in my experiences that I had when I truly did feel like I was experiencing the oneness of all things. I also realized that how much oneness I experienced depended on who I brought to the party, in terms of what part of myself I brought to the party. And I could bring a fearful self and I wouldn't have a great experience of oneness.
Mm-hmm.
Or I could bring that part of myself that you're talking about, which is fearless and just wants to dive in no matter what the consequences. And I would have a big experience of oneness. And I wish I could have those experiences again.
Mm-hmm.
At the moment, I think I'm scared to take the drugs again,
Yeah. Frank, you notice, I wish.
Yeah, I
Have
wish.
this experience again. And consider that is just half a step away from, I want to. I really want to.
Yeah.
You see, and that's where the creativity lies, in claiming our longing. That the guide tells us we have this longing because it's something we can have. If we couldn't have it, we wouldn't have the longing for it. Okay? Yet we
I'm
hesitate
grateful.
to really step into that. I want it, right? Like,
Yes. But I'm grateful I had the experience of feeling that oneness of all things.
mhm.
Because I don't think it's a very easy thing a very easy experience to have.
Right.
I just don't think it is.
Well, Frank, the mind doesn't think it is easy to have because the mind can't get there with the ladder it makes out of its thoughts. You see,
Yeah.
this is our mind speaking to us. And the mind is also afraid of oneness, right? Yet what we're considering today is this resistance is coming from a small part of our being up here in our gray matter, right? Yet the reality is there's so much more to us than just the thought that is keeping us, in a small room in the mansion of our being, right? So we're not going to get out of this by thinking. All the studying of all the teachings, all the Dharma, all over the world, and all the monasteries, all of that will never bring us to this place of oneness. Yet what brings us is allowing the longing with a capital L that is a form of grace. This is the bridge between spirit and matter, is our longing. Right? Because as we allow ourselves to feel our longing, basically we're willing to do everything, look at all the ways we keep ourselves small, right? Look at all the ways, our failed ways of protecting ourselves just bring relentless monotony, right? It's what allows us to take the great risk of surrender, right? Letting go, stepping into the abyss and floating until we, come to rest somewhere and realize all is well, right? The abyss of our illusion, the abyss of our fear. There's so much of that all around us right now, right? Stephen wants to jump in here, Frank. Is that, we're going to have some...
Come on in, Stephen.
Thank you. Anyway, I think what was brought up at the very beginning about the necklace, and I'm paraphrasing, the necklace that I'm looking for is already around my neck. And that seems to have some great importance to me because I've looked for that necklace and I've traveled the world looking for it and never finding it. In essence, I mean, I've had good times and I thought, well, that's the necklace, but it never really stayed. And I'm questioning, why is the world so enticing when the real action, the real meaning is within? And I just think it's much easier to look outside of myself to find myself. Right. And that has never worked. And now I have to really, I don't have to. You see, even the words have to. I don't have to do anything, really. Right. But I've been trained. I have to look outside. I have to join this group. I have to do that. This weekend retreat will do it for me. And it never has created a Stephen that felt joyous or joyful. I mean, moments of happiness, which is very different than joy, inner joy. And I get that inner joy when I can actually experience myself and accept the moment. And I find therein lies the necklace. However, to stay with that is not very easy. Yeah. Because the mind keeps saying, don't you have this to do? What about that? Right. Oh, you shouldn't have done that. Mm-hmm. And I grab onto that. These are very sticky thoughts. Yeah.
So, Stephen, you say, this is our human nature. This is what the experience of human nature is, that's ruled by the thinking mind. Yet what happens is those of us that are caught in that, we feel there's something wrong with us. And what we're considering here is just step to the side and look at ourselves and realize this is what I'm doing. I can stop. It seems really challenging to stop because the mind just really now comes at us, right? It knows all the buttons to push. Right. It knows all the hairline cracks to attack, right? This is what, when the guide invites us to shift our identification to the spiritual self, right? Is to realize that if we just don't take the thinking seriously and stop and just be still for a few moments like we did when we were being still together at the beginning, something happens, right? We start to have the actual experience of being alive that's underneath all these day-to-day thinking patterns, right? Yet the guide also reminds us, like, the mind is terrified of letting go. The mind says, what? No, right? Yet the real self says, come on, the water's fine, right? So it takes shifting our awareness to a part of ourself that we're unfamiliar with, most of us, having lived our life mostly through following the recipes in the cookbook of our thinking mind, right? This recipe for happiness, this recipe for this, for that, right? Like, yet these are all just ideas. That there's something underneath the level of our ideas that's calling us to step into it. Like what, and it, you know, it's not easy. Yeah, the only thing harder is living in the mind. That is the hardest place to live. You know, I mean, and all of us here have spent much of our lives living in that place and feeling the, you know, the monotony, the anxiety, the worry, the fear, the guilt, the shame, really. All of this is coming from our thoughts. All these emotions come from our thoughts. They're slaves to our thoughts. So, you know, what the guide says, compared to many other spiritual paths that say the ego is the villain and gets us into trouble, and the guide encourages us to develop a healthy ego. That's what all the work in the pathwork is about, right? Yet what the healthy ego knows to do is that its purpose is to call on the inner knowing, to call on the real self, the spiritual self, right? Because this is where we came here to find. That's what this incarnation is all about, is this journey from the small self to the real self, right? And, you know, ask and ye shall receive. When we really want it, it comes in, right? That's why I keep repeating myself when I say, just let yourself want to feel this, because then you don't have to figure out how to do it, right? Because grace comes in. That's where grace comes in. To want it is an act of faith that the spiritual level responds to with an unqualified yes. Right? The spiritual level knows how risky it is for a human to let themselves feel their longing. Right? Much of our thinking all our life has been about avoiding disappointment, right? Yet it doesn't work. Right? When we feel our longing and feel our desire for liberation, for freedom, for wholeness, we're willing to risk being disappointed, because we know that's where the grace will meet us, right? The mind doesn't understand that. And there's something in us now, in our heart and our soul, that says, now's the time. Don't wait any longer. You know everything you need now to do this. Just get right up to the edge of that diving board. You know, the water's fine.
I'd like to share, right?
Please.
Hi, I'm Karen. I'm really amazed at everything that's being shared and what you shared, Brian, because I feel a little vulnerable, but that's all right. Because I came here today, you came to my mind, and I want to see you. I feel really grateful meeting you and being in this group as well. and the love I felt. But what's happened to me is I just feel like I've been through a lot of healing. And you were talking about thoughts and objects, and even you brought up the brain. I'm just really blown away at this because, you know, I had an injury. Well, first of all, I had a lot of healing come up. I had like a picture of all this stuff that I've healed, detaching from people, beliefs, things, thoughts. And then I was feeling so free. And then it's like I saw the core piece of not worthy and associating myself with a head injury. But then all of a sudden I realized I am not my injury. I am not my head. I am not my thoughts. I am not what you know, these beliefs, these lies. That I am the spirit inside operating through this vehicle. And suddenly I felt even freer. And I was feeling really good. A lot of things I've experienced in my life, I've negated my intuition, my connection, and I was feeling really good. And I said, God, is that you? And this voice that has been coming through, guiding me, said, it's me, Karen. It's me. And I said, oh my God, it's my soul, which is God, a spark of God. And you brought up a necklace. This is so wild. I've been wearing this necklace and it has a little turquoise and it sits by my heart. And it's from a soul retrieval that I went to. And I remembered that and I said, my soul has come home, is how it feels.
Yeah.
My tubes are cleared. And I really feel a rebirth. Everything you said about now is the time. I keep hearing that. Now is the time. And then when I go into thoughts, I hear it's a quiet, loving voice that says, come on home. Come on home. So I drop in my heart and I realize what I'm learning is how to operate this vehicle. I'm a really sensitive individual and I'm not crazy and it is real. But I was looking out and attaching to everything, a lot of healing. So I was just feeling really grateful and I really wanted to see you today. And no coincidence, but my even words just can't express. I just appreciate all the love and the healing and helping me to accept myself. A lot of love. I'm so grateful. And I'll leave it at that before I get too emotional.
Thank you, Karen. And what Karen has here is extremely contagious. So what I want to do now is take a moment and honor any resistance that is showing up for any one of us here around this letting go of our lifelong patterns of being a prisoner in the small room of a great mansion, right? That it's easy to take this like a personal failing because we already have, all of us, so much unworthiness in us personally and collectively. Yet, you see, this is just the human condition. There's something honorable in the resistance, actually, because we're seeing something that's calling us to pay attention to it. And, you know, there was a Sufi mystic, Mansoura, and giving a talk, and somebody said, how do I become free? And what he did is, without saying anything, ran up to the nearest temple column and grabbed it and began to scream, help, save me, release me from the column. And then he asked, do you think it's me holding the column or the column holding me? And of course, people replied, well, of course you were holding the column. And he said, well, all our attachments, these are our chains, but they're not holding us. But we're clinging to them, just like I'm holding onto the column. Let them go and you are immediately free, because freedom always was and always will be. It's not something that can be taken away from us. This helps us see, like, each of our own struggles around this. It's something calling us to consider, what is all this pointing to? What am I attached to? What am I chained to that's really me holding on to it? And the guide tells us that it's our pseudo solutions. This is what we grew up thinking and believing was going to save us. And what we're considering, many of us at this stage in our life, is like there's something more wonderful, more free, more liberating, more happy that comes from just finally letting all that effort of trying to make it work, trying to be a better person, go and realize we already are a spiritual being in human form. Yet to connect with that means letting all those thoughts go, right? That's what I am saying at the risk of repeating myself. Yet you can hear some excitement and enthusiasm in my voice because, I'm finally beginning to get some tastes of that I just want to share, right? So who else who hasn't had a chance to speak yet?
I might jump in if I.
Please, Chris.
I'm feeling my heart feels very full. I'm really feeling grateful and a lot of love for just right now for everything and everybody, and feeling very, very inspired by your words, Brian, and what everyone is saying. And I am experiencing slivers comes to where the thought. I'm experiencing some of that peace. It's like fragile, fragile peace. That's the word. Okay. From looking at the words of Course in Miracles that life is an illusion, which is very much like the guide speaks to, and it feels like there's a sense inside of me being able, that helps me differentiate from the human mentalizing and and helps me go into the direction of peace, if that makes sense. And so I'm feeling very grateful for that. And I want to say that what you're saying resonates with, like, the Course of Miracles says, all it takes is a little willingness. You need a little willingness and Holy Spirit will do the rest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think that's what you're saying in terms of the longing.
Yeah, just to be willing.
Willing. And I do
Willing
have a little
to feel
willingness.
belonging, right? You see,
And
there's a place in us we're already home. There's a place in us we're already complete. We're already full. Right?
Yes.
The great irony of the human journey is it can seem so far away, and it's right here. That, you see. So any thought, like, how can it be right here? I don't feel it, you see, or whatever any of our resistance is, what we're considering, it's coming from this very small part of our brain that all it knows is a separate self. So it takes being kind and respectful and gentle with ourselves, not to blame ourselves for being a slave to our thoughts, and to be kind and understanding in helping from the heart, from the longing, help it see this is just what every human being faces to go to the next level, right? Because we feel inadequate, we feel unworthy, we feel there's things we have to do first in order to be there, etc., etc. So why don't we do this? Why don't we gently soften our eyes again for a moment and just visualize all these words just falling to the floor like confetti. And allow all the thoughts around the words to fall on the floor, on top of the words. And just allow any feeling of unworthiness, inadequacy, even hopelessness, even despair, come up and move into the heart. And hear the heart say with each one, I understand. It's okay. Thank you. You're closer than you think. Stay with it. Don't let any longing arise without any idea of what it's for or what it's about, just the feeling of longing. Visualize your longing like a compass needle swinging around to true north. Anytime, day or night, it knows which way to go. It glows in the dark. Let any hesitation arise. And hear the heart say, I understand. What's being offered to us here is an experience that comes from a deeper level than our thinking, right? And while the mind is afraid of these upwellings of experience, they're completely trustworthy, they're completely safe. So consider just stopping for a few moments anytime you're feeling the stress of being a human being, right? And we all have plenty of it. And just letting it all go, coming back into the heart and feeling the longing, and saying those essential magic words, help me, help me. That whenever we ask for help in this way, help is always there. And even what seemed like insurmountable obstacles get a little bit softer. They just do. This is a promise, right? This is how shifting our identification from the small self to the real self works. Any questions about longing? Especially if you notice it's difficult to connect with that.
This is Ruth Ann. I grew up really believing that I shouldn't want anything, and that if I wanted something, it was selfish or it was demanding, and that, you know, being part of a large family, working together and doing everything together, we eventually got our needs met. And then I started working through, you know, healing my wanter, is what I called it, because my wanter was broken. But then I started asking myself, I want to be free. I want to live in freedom and feel freedom. And I want freedom from want. Like there was some echoing of this historic phrase, freedom from want, freedom from poverty. And so it kind of resonated with my more perverted version of not wanting.
Yeah.
Something was in parallel structure there, and it felt like it was a righteous thing. Freedom from want and freedom from poverty, freedom from entanglement with indebtedness, you know, debt, money. And so, you know, I play with all these concepts, and I have worked on it for a long time in many different scenarios. And I'm guessing that I'm walking into a place where the kind of traumatized child in me that felt shame around wanting, and then looked for respect in simplicity, living simply that others might simply live. Somehow even that was a perverted version, and that letting go of that even seemingly righteous version of not wanting letting go frees me not from poverty, but to live up to my potential.
Mhm.
So I'm not free from anything. I'm free to be all that I can be, whatever our interconnectedness and our oneness and our moment on this planet calls me to be. So I'm really feeling that movement here in this room, and that reminder. It's kind of, like a massage to the soil of my heart. So thank you.
Thank you, Ruth. Yeah, thank you. I feel my respect, Ruth Ann, for all the steps that got you here.
Hi, Brian, and hi, everybody. Yeah, my struggle is probably deeper than I think it is at the moment, but my struggle seems to be in my mind that this is the first week of the Trump presidency. I don't even want to say presidency. I am afraid for our democracy. I am afraid for people that I know who are Latino, that they're very afraid of what's happening. I'm very afraid this whole country is being taken over by billionaires, trillionaires, and that's all that matters. So I'm like, so I'm struggling going back and forth. And
yeah, so Pam, let me really meet you here, right? Like, because there's a helplessness that we get caught in with things we can't change. And I really understand the fear that you're sharing. Yet I'm really wanting to connect with you in some way where it's something that needs you and needs us here with you, right? Like, if you could just let yourself drop into it below the news of the day. There's an existential terror. I can feel it. Right?
Yeah, my favorite prayer right now is just help me. I've been saying.
Help me. Yeah. Can you just let yourself feel the terror here for a moment with our holding you, right, in our strong circle? Like,
yeah, I'm afraid of feeling how terrified I am.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it feels like, wait, if I get that terrified, then what can I do to help myself or others, Yeah.
Yeah, the fear of the fear. Yeah, it's a real thing, the fear of the fear. Yeah. And what's moving in me and resonating with you is it's just terrifying to be a human being. We're so vulnerable. I'm feeling my own vulnerability. Yeah.
Just remembering that from being a little kid, I wondered, I saw that there are human beings that are so unconscious or so hurtful. I grew up seeing pictures of dead bodies in Life magazine that were killed in the Nazi regime, and then looking at what was going on in the South, people killing Black people. And I always felt like, how can this happen? How can we be this unconscious? How can human beings be so cruel?
Right.
And so that's all coming up more in this last week.
Yeah, this is the real crux of being a human being, because the world is full of unspeakable cruelty, and the temptation is to go, it's worse now than ever. Well,
No, I know that's not right, but
Yeah.
it's bad. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, there's a moment here. I'm just wanting to, with the little time we have left, just invite us all to be here with our own version of this. We all have a version of this, and soften our eyes again, and just feel this fear like a hook right in the heart. There's no way to explain it. There's no way to justify it. It's incomprehensible. Part of our humanity that is so cruel is incomprehensible. And let's just ask together, each in our own way, for grace just to shine on this part of us that is just hooked in this bewilderment, the world we're living in. Asking for grace to soften it. Asking for grace to release it. And hearing grace say, I'm here with you. I'm really here with you. You know, taking ourselves off mute and coming to the faces on the screen, knowing what we're carrying together. The unspeakable, the unimaginable, the transcendent, the horrible, the wonderful, all of it. Really letting the hands come up, the faces on the screen, and I'm here with you. Just like it is, I'm here with you. I'm here with you.
I'm here
I'm
with
here
you.
with you.
I'm here
with
With
you.
you.
All here together.
The beauty and the terror. I'm here with you.
I'm here with you. Here with you. Always.
And may the peace that surpasses all understanding find its way into our heart, into our minds. You're beautiful, and I love you.